Welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Abia State Governor Okezie Ikpeazu has imposed a 3-day curfew on the state after clashes between the Nigerian army and members of the indigenous people of Biafra. The curfew comes on the same day Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer alleged that the army has placed his client under house arrest. Ifeanyi Ejiofor says soldiers have surrounded Kanu's home, preventing him from leaving. Following these occurrences, Ikpeazu says a curfew has now been imposed in the state to prevent further breakdown of law and order. The Southeast Governors Forum has set up a 7-member committee to investigate the recent clash between the Nigerian army and members of the indigenous people of Biafra in Umuahia, Abia State. The Nigerian army has reportedly clashed with members of the Biafra agitation group during a patrol in Umuahia. Though the Biafra group is accusing the army of invading the home of its leader, Nnamdi Kanu, killing 3 people. The Southeast Governors Forum spokesperson Michael Uda in a statement said the 7-man committee was set up to provide lasting solutions to such problems and forestall future occurrences of such incidents. The death toll in the outbreak of cholera in various camps for displaced persons in Borno State, northeast Nigeria, has surged to 40. According to United Nations' effort to contain the outbreak, it has been hampered as people are reluctant to report suspected cases to authorities. The death toll, which stood at 23 just 6 days ago, has now climbed to 40, and the UN reports that there are now over 1,626 suspected cases of the disease in the camps. Around 1.8 million people have fled their homes because of violence or food shortages. The rainy season has spread the disease in densely populated camps where many people live in unsanitary conditions. The Nigerian Air Force says it has destroyed most structures used by the Boko Haram insurgents as meeting points in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. This was announced in a statement issued by the Air Force Public Relations Director Olatokunbo Adesonya in Abuja. Adesonya explained this was achieved during an ongoing intensive bombardment of the insurgent hideout in Sambisa through air interdiction. He further stated the attacks were designed to further break the will and capacity of the insurgent to regroup against the Air Force. Former President of Nigeria Olusegun Obasanjo has accused ex-President Goodluck Jonathan of mishandling the Boko Haram insurgency during his term as president. Speaking in an interview with the BBC, Obasanjo said Jonathan did not believe the insurgency was a serious issue. Obasanjo further stated he brought the grievances of the sect to the immediate past president in 2011, but he did not take the issue seriously. Under Jonathan, the Boko Haram sect held a swath of territories in the northeast region and even launched fatal attacks in the Federal Capital Territory. However, in the past year, the military has succeeded in beating back the Islamic militant sect and have significantly reduced the amount of suicide attacks on innocent civilians in the country. The Minister of Health, Isaac Adewale, has expressed optimism that the strike action by the National Association of Resident Doctors would be called off soon. The government and the leadership of NARD had met on September 6th and agreed to pay the arrears of the salaries later September 8th. Speaking on the strike action, the health minister said the government has paid all outstanding salary arrears of the resident doctors to the bank accounts of institutions affected. The doctors had embarked on a nationwide strike action on September 4th, crippling all health services at secondary and tertiary healthcare facilities across the nation. Meanwhile, the leadership of the NERD is expected to meet later today, Tuesday, to appraise the response of the federal government to their demands. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday commissioned an integrated feed mill and poultry in Chukun local government area of Kaduna State. The feed mill and poultry company constructed by the Kaduna State government is expected to attract more private sector investors to the state. The company consists of a feed mill, hatchery, and breeder farm. The feed mill is expected to boost the country's vision of growing its agricultural sector and diversifying the nation's economy. President Muhammadu Buhari has urged state governors to pay backlog of salaries owed to workers in their various states. The president made the appeal while meeting with traditional rulers in Abuja, where he decried the way the parish club refund was spent by some state governors. The Ministry of Finance had on May 4th released the second tranche of parish club refund to states totaling 243.8 billion naira. The president had directed that the funds be used to offset backlog of salaries owed to workers in various states. Lawmaker representing Kogi West Senatorial District, Dino Melaye, says he is confident he will survive the move to recall him from the Nigerian Senate. A federal high court in Abuja had ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to continue Melaye's recall process, which was earlier suspended by the court. Constituent from Kogi West Senatorial District had called for Melaye's recall, submitting signatories of over 52% voters in the district to INEC. In reaction to the court's ruling, the senator urged his supporters not to be troubled by the verdict, which he described as obvious persecution and appealable judgment of the court. The Nigerian government is condemning the current spate of human rights abuses in the Rakhine state of Myanmar. The United Nations says nearly 300,000 Rohingya refugees arrived Bangladesh following attacks by Rohingya militants in Myanmar security forces. In a statement, the Nigerian government said the situation in Myanmar is very similar to what happened in Rwanda in 1994 and in Bosnia-Herzegovina in 1995. The government is now asking the United Nations to invoke the principle of the responsibility to protect and intervene in the Myanmar to stop the ongoing ethnic crisis. The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency has expressed worry over the rate of measles-related illness and death in Nigeria. The executive director of the agency, Faisal Shuaib, says despite the various intervention efforts in the country, Nigeria still accounts significantly to the global measles burden. He made the remarks at a press briefing on the 2017-2018 measles vaccination campaign in Abuja, the nation's capital.
The number of outbreaks has increased from 166, affecting 140 local government areas, to 183, affecting 158 local government areas in 2015 and 2016, respectively. Surveillance data shows that there was a steady increase in measles incidence among children under 5 years in the north, from 1,901 per million in 2014, from 190 per million in 2014 to 527 per million in 2016. The trend in the proportion of measles cases among children under 5 years and children aged from 5 to 10 years in the north has been rising steadily since 2014. In the southern states, though the incidence decreased from 111 per million in 2014 to 11 per million in 2016, the incident rate is still above the desired less than 5 per million populations. It is also noteworthy that the proportion of measles cases among children under 5 is 60%, and for those between above 5 to 10 and under 10 years, it is 19%.
Continued measles outbreak in Nigeria pose real challenges to the elimination efforts put in place by the country. The routine immunization coverage has not reached optimal levels at subnational level, and past campaigns did not achieve the desired 95% coverage. WHO, along with other partners, would like to acknowledge the government of Nigeria for taking a leadership role in spearheading preparations for a high-quality campaign.
wrong with kí ló máa ń ṣe iná? Tell them I drove for more than 1 hour.
Ìyá mi, ọ̀rọ̀ yín náà ni mò ń ṣe. Ọ̀rọ̀ yín náà ni mò ń ṣe. Ká kúrò fún Ọlọ́run. Ká satisfy yín níbi ọ̀rọ̀ yín náà ni mò ń ṣe.
Ẹ wo jẹ́ ká lọ jàre. Ká kúrò níbí báyìí.
Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má bínú. Hello ọ̀gá. Màá dọ́dọ̀ yín lẹ́sẹ̀ I am assure you 5 minutes. Màá dọ́dọ̀ yín. Ẹ gbà bẹ́ẹ̀.
You are deceiving another customer just like you deceived us.
The same way he deceived us.
Eh? Why?
Ètò ní iṣẹ́ yìí. Bó o bá kúrò ò lè jẹun, ò lè jẹun. Bó o bá kúrò ò lè jẹun ìyá mi. Bó o bá kúrò ò lè jẹun. Workshop mi lélẹ́yìí. Ibi tí èèyàn bá ti ń ṣe ló ti ń jẹ. Ìyẹn ló ń pè ní workshop. Ibi tó bá ti ń work ni kó má ti shop.
You cannot base your business on lies. Koda now, it is corruption and it cannot work. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. It's time for business with Ngozi Okoye.
Thank you, Fidelia. The intervention of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, in the foreign exchange market through special foreign exchange sales to bank has created stability in the FX market, with the exchange around 365 naira to the dollar for some time now. As at August, the CBN has injected over $9 billion into the FX market through authorized dealers in 44 sessions, beginning from February 2017. While the intervention has helped in shoring up the value of the naira, there are concerns as to whether the Apex Bank will be able to sustain the trend. TV360 has been speaking with some experts on the issue.
We could see stability in the short term. It could be stable for the next 6 months, and then the stability is largely dependent. If we're not talking the medium to long term, it is largely dependent on a number of factors, which include oil prices, crude oil in this case, and also factors such as our crude oil production in this country. So as we speak, all those two factors are positive and should result in sustained stability in the FX market. But in the long term, I think there's a need for the country to diversify the source of FX income into the Nigerian economy, shifting away from oil to other commodities, and speaking in this case about agric, and also a build-up of infrastructure. So with that, we could expect sustained stability in the FX market in Nigeria.
Central Bank has caught up with the act with all other markets in the world, and is actually practicing what you can call, even though segmented, a floating exchange rate. So effectively, we have allowed the exchange rate find something near a fair value, right? So you have about 5 or 6 multiple exchange rates, but most of them converging towards a concentric point. So effectively, what you have now is a more transparent official market, and markets that are not too far apart in terms of value. It's sustainable as long as it is flexible. If the fundamentals suggest that we should allow the price depreciate marginally or somewhat, then so be it. But I would rather have the foreign exchange supply at a market price than to have no supply at all at an artificial price. I think gradually and reluctantly, the Nigerian public, the Nigerian policymakers, the Nigerian politicians and office holders have come to accept that the foreign exchange market is like any other market, and that when there's scarcity, the price will increase, and when there's a surplus, the price will decline.
The Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, says it is not in any current discussion with the management of Ethiopian Airlines for the takeover of Arik Air. The management of Ethiopian Airlines last week said it had launched a bid to take over Arik Air and is awaiting the response of the Nigerian government. According to AMCON, the corporation has eroded the share value of the airline that is hugely indebted to the various creditors to tune of 300 billion naira. Hence, the shareholders no longer have anything to hold on to. Oil prices regained some losses on Tuesday through the help of Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. The organization says its output fall in August is an indication that the production cut impact was helping to reduce the supply glut. In its monthly report, the OPEC also raised its demand forecast for 2018 and said the two hurricanes that have hit the U.S. in the recent weeks would have negligible impact on demand. Meanwhile, Brent crude edged 30 cents higher to $54.14 per barrel, while U.S. crude was flat from the previous close at $54.07 a barrel. It had traded down to $57.73. Well, that is it on business news. And it's back to you, Fidelia.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no. You don't need to do this. We're only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which came out with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
You're watching news now on TV360. Opposition lawmakers were not the only people missing from today's opening of Parliament in Kenya, as the Supreme Court judges were also not present. According to the Chief Justice's office, the judges were not present because they were not invited. However, opposition National Super Alliance members snubbed the meeting, saying President Uhuru Kenyatta could not open Parliament while the country was waiting for the rerun of the presidential election. Earlier this month, the Supreme Court ruled that the result of August presidential election, which President Kenyatta won, should be annulled. The International Organization for Migration says the real number of migrant deaths were far higher than the numbers reported. The UN Migration Agency, in a new report on migrant deaths and disappearances worldwide, said many migrant deaths were never recorded. The IOM stated that since 2014, more than 23,000 migrant deaths and disappearances have been recorded globally. It, however, added that the real number is likely to be much higher, as many deaths are never recorded. Nigeria Super Eagles have qualified for the group stage of the 2017 West African Football Union Cup after defeating Sierra Leone 2-0 in the final qualifier. Two late goals from Osas Okoro and substitute Moses Peter helped the team to victory. The Eagles are now in Group B alongside Ghana, Mali and Guinea. Their first game of the group is against host country, Ghana, on Thursday. Nigerian international Victor Moses has denied reports he selects games to play for the Super Eagles. The Chelsea wingback has been one of the best players in the national team, helping the Eagles move closer to a place at the 2018 World Cup. However, he has come under criticism in the past for allegedly feigning injury to miss national team games. But in a fresh interview, Moses admitted he has been made aware of the accusations but denied snubbing call-ups. South African football chiefs have agreed a 2018 World Cup qualifying tie against Senegal should be replayed on ethical and moral grounds. World governing body FIFA ordered the replay after the referee for the original game, Joseph Lampetti, was banned for manipulating the match. The South African Football Association, SAFA, had been considering an appeal but now says it agrees with FIFA. However, it said it would appeal should the referee's ban be overturned. South Africa beat Senegal 2-1 in the original tie last year. Well, that's it on News Now. Thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha.